to do. Same thing. It's just the way it's the way of doing business in the 2000s, I guess, if you want to be successful.
You got to be linked. You got to be networked. Yep, definitely so.
Right. Absolutely. That, and you got to take pictures of your food on social media. Well, that's important, too.
Screw that. I'm eating. I ain't got no time for this.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. I'm a busy man here. I'm starving.
Yeah, what am I going to do? Have 700 pictures of pizza?
Yeah.
Nothing. And the occasional cannoli, of course.
Carl, let me ask you, can I keep you on through the break? We'll take a quick break, and we'll come back and talk about what was trending on Automoblog this week.
Yeah, we want to know what's happening. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll hang on.
All right, hang on. On Motormouth Radio, we're going to take another quick break, and we'll be right back with more of Carl Anthony. Keep it where you got it.
Forefathers went to trading post 3 long days' journey to get powder and shot.
Today I drive my Pontiac to town in a few minutes to see the latest Paris gown.
Is this new Pontiac equipped with freewheeling? Naturally. Has it synchro silent second? Of course. Is the body by Fisher? Certainly. Well, apparently Pontiac has all the latest developments of automotive engineering. Absolutely. That is why Pontiac is today the chief of values.
Oh, my, oh, my, oh, my. Let me tell you about this fine show we have here at the station called Motormouth Radio. It is a car show hosted by Ray Guarino and Joe D. But you know what? It's not just cars. They sometimes talk about other things, and even when they're just talking about cars, it's about the love of cars. It's about the feeling you get. They open up a hood, and they say, damn, I want to redo this engine. Not everyone says that. These guys do. And like I always say also, you watch those cooking shows. You don't cook, you can listen to these guys, not know anything about a car. So please listen to Motormouth Radio every Sunday, 12 noon, right here on WHPC. And if you don't listen, that's your fault. You'll go through the rest of the day saying, damn it, I didn't listen. I should have listened. Sort of like Motormouth Radio. You don't have to like cars to listen to them. It helps if you do, but you don't have to. Thank you.
All righty, we are back.
Derringer.
We are back with Derringer, Carl Anthony, Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo, Rob Leonard. Everybody's playing their bit today.
All right.
Back with more Motormouth Radio. Carl, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm still here, loud and clear.
Were you playing that guitar break on the air guitar like Joe was on that?
Yeah, well, Joe taught me air guitar.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. He did.
I was just waving at you. I was trying to tell you there was a fire under the car.
But worth every penny.
Absolutely. I know.
Thanks, man.
So tell us
what... I mean, just saying, that way if this whole car thing doesn't pan out, I can do an air guitar tour with Joe.
Oh, yeah.
We just need Ray, you could be the air drummer.
We could try that. Yeah, we could do that. I do it all the time. Yeah. You would think I had Remo's skins in my car the way I played the steering wheel, the console. I use everything. I use the mirror. I'm like Buddy Rich. I'm a backhand in the driver's door. You name it. Oh, yeah. So
awesome.
So, Carl, what was going on Automoblog? I know you guys cover so much stuff. What were the highlights?
So, very interesting. We just spent the first part of this segment talking about oil and internal combustion engines, and the big trend, guys, this week and the last couple weeks has been electrification, moving completely away from internal combustion engines. And what kind of sparked this conversation, no pun intended, was the fact that you had Auto China going on right now through May 4th in Beijing. And what has happened is that there's a couple things. You've got Volvo, who has come out and said, look, we are going to focus on more electrification. In fact, 50% of our lineup is going to be electrified by 2025. Whoa. Then Volvo's got their spin-off performance brand, Polestar. That's an all-electric offering. And then you've got Infiniti, who's jumped on top of that, and Infiniti said, China is an emerging market for us. We've sold nearly 50,000 vehicles in China last year, and in fact, we are going to roll out a whole new electrified lineup in China. And then finally, at the very end of all this, Jaguar comes out and says, hey, we've got this new I-Pace E-Trophy. The I-Pace was just released here a couple months back, but they're doing a very powerful for the Formula E Prix. they've got a very powerful I-Pace that they have put out. So as we spend our time here this morning talking about Mobil 1 and good old-fashioned internal combustion engines, there's a huge trend now in the industry really pushing these last couple. The discussion is on electrification these last couple weeks.
Yeah, it's going to go that way. It's going to have to, for a lot of reasons. Not the least of which is limited resources. And
well, they're going to have to pry my lumpy camshaft from my dead cold hands. I'm telling you that much.
Yeah, right. I would say we'll be around in we'll be curating at the Museum of Internal Combustion, I think, Ray. But
and we're known usually for external combustion.
Spontaneous combustion.
Spontaneously, right?
External.
Right.
By the way, where's that extinguisher? What's that I smell out the door there?
Wow.
Whoops. So,
does the FCC to require you to keep one in the studio?
Yeah, I think they do.
Yeah, they made us get rid of the hose.
So, Carl, with the electrification thing, how has battery technology increased as well as the talks of electrifying everything?
Right, and the big thing for battery technology is that the engineers look at it from a consumer standpoint. The biggest barrier, or one of the biggest barriers, is range anxiety. Like what if I run out of juice? So what you see right now is the technology and the engineering. They're going for longer range. Getting the cars to have longer range, and then of course benchmarking the vehicle. So just as you would take an internal combustion car, you go through and you benchmark it in product development. You say, okay, we're going to get rid of X number of kilograms. That's going to give us this number of weight savings, and then that's going to help fuel economy. You see this stuff all the time.
Weight is the enemy of mileage, no matter whether it's electrical or gas, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, but they also got to work on the infrastructure, though, too.
Right, and that's the other side of it, too. So you get the car to be lighter weight, the range is better for the battery, but then you have to have the charging stations along the way. But you're starting to see, in fact, there was a huge conglomeration of where Ford came together, BMW came together, Volkswagen came together, and they want to lay out a whole charging network actually throughout Europe. You see a lot of automakers committing now to the infrastructure, so that's where I see the technology going.
Okay.
John, give me 15 kilowatts and wipe the windshield.
Yeah. I listened to an old clip that you had given us a while ago, just yesterday, Carl. We were talking about tire technology and how the tire sensors hitting the road and how it was so active. I'm thinking, wow, maybe if they could have an active component in a tire that would contact the grid on the road to help charge the vehicle.
Right.
Who knows? Maybe that could be... I don't know. I think it's pretty ironic. We've been dealing with internal combustion cars for over 100 years, and yet you see still, and you talk about range anxiety, but you still see people walking with gas cans. All the years we've been using, they still run out of gas.
Yeah, that's true.
How do you do that? So I think the ones that are going to run out are going to run out no matter what.
That's true. There's poor planning at all times.
Although I do agree. I know if I fill my car and the computer in my car tells me I can go, say, 300 miles in that tank of gas.
You're going 298 and you're going for that 302. I know you.
Yeah, no, me.
It's like Kramer on that Seinfeld episode.
Right. You would think, but you know what? I tell you what, I fill my cars at half tank. So I do not go with
me too. No. I don't that light. I don't like that light coming on.
My point is that but if I saw that an electric car said you only have X amount of hours or X amount of miles, I think I may have anxiety over that as well. Because you know that it's more finite. So we'll have to see.
Well, what about hybrids? Are they stepping away from hybrids?
It kind of seems to be that way. I mean, the trend seems to be fully electrified, like no gas engine, 100% electrified. Like hybrids were like the middle stage.
Sure.
And then it's just gone to straight electrification. And Ray, to your point a minute ago, the battery technology, I just remembered recently here, Kia and Hyundai put out kind of this experimental thing that they're doing, and it's like a wireless charging but for a car. So there's an electromagnetic field, and there's two energy coils, and then there's a transmitter on the ground and a receiver at the bottom of the vehicle. So basically, like, let's say you cruise into the mall or you cruise into the grocery store, you basically park, and then your car is just like you'd set your phone on a wireless charger. While you're parked somewhere, your car is charging. This is something that Hyundai and Kia are experimenting with.
Yeah.
They basically say it's like a transmitter. It's sent through an inductive coupling, and Kia has done a test that even if you park kind of crooked, that it'll still charge it, like even if you're not fully over it. So maybe that's the way of the future.
Yeah.
That would make a lot of sense. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
It's like the inductive chargers for cell phones. You just lay it on the disc and it charges. Yeah.
Right, which goes back to Joe, which goes back to your point. When was it when I called in? Was it last month, a couple months ago? Remember, Joe, how you said cars today are becoming like iPhones?
Yes.
Just like,
yes.
I still stand by that, yes.
Yep. Where you just you're like, oh, whatever, I'll just upgrade, no big deal. There's no emotional attachment. It's got the newest thing, the newest tech wizardry. Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah, it's an app now. Yeah, I know. Like one of our eyes in the sky, Jim says, "What happens to the batteries? When these things go dead?
They have to be
basically
recycled.
They got to be recycled and probably with the rest of the car too.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's another thing.
And
disposable.
That could start a whole new industry.
Yeah.
It's like with computers. We had so many computers all of a sudden that the cottage industries sprung up how to strip the gold and solder off the PC boards and recycle that. And then, there's whole facilities that do nothing but that. So
there's nobody sliding under one of them things in a newer car like that with a creeper trying to fix something. Besides that, now with that contact type charging system, you may be in for a shock.
I wonder.
Bump.
Yeah. I'm just thinking,
Right.
I'm thinking instead of using my 10s unit, maybe I'll lay down in a parking lot and get a little bit of a buzz on my back.
Right. Hair sticking straight up.
Sure. Hey, why not?
Works for me.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, that's very good.
But then, you guys, and here's the thing, like, some of the dealerships that we talk to, some of the technicians that we talk to, even when I was a service advisor, this was always a fear, is that the rate of technology coming out from the manufacturers in the factory, it's hard for these service departments to keep up with all that.
Yeah, especially if you work for Caddy. Jeez.
Oh, yeah.
Caddy was always tough. You're right, though. There really is. It's getting to the point where you can't keep all this stuff in your head. I mean, and if there's nobody around to fix these things, they're either going to become disposable, or that.
I just had a thought, Joe. Like we talk about how you always have the old guy in the shop, like us.
Right.
So instead of having the guy who knows what a kingpin is or how to do a shackle, it's like now the old guy's going to know about fuel injection.
Right. Exactly. Actually, it might just go the other way. Now we'll just have the shop kid who understands stuff.
Right.
Instead of the old guy, I'll have the kid that, let me come over there and we got to update the app or something.
Right.
Right.
It can happen.
Oh, well.
And I tell you guys, there's a handful of Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram dealerships around here. And I drive by them, and I see those brand new Chargers and Challengers sitting out there with the 6.4 Hemis and the 6.2 supercharged Hemis. And I drive by and I go, man, how much longer until, I'm like, man, if somebody wants to own one of those cars today, there's only so much time to get in on the action, because it feels like at some point, like those cars are just not going to be around, and it's like the last of the muscle cars, It's the last of that.
Remember though, that's what people said about the 426 Hemi and the L88s. They said we're never going to see this level of performance again. And now, now 40 years later, here's 600, 800 horsepower at the delership, warranted.
Yeah,
that's true.
Blows me away.
Right.
But what happens is if this stuff's going to become electric, how are the kids of the future going to roll up they're going to pick up their date? How are they going to piss off their parents?
With audio soundtracks.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the Hey, I remember when the Hypercycle came out, it was the first fully electric motorcycle that would do a quarter mile in, I think, like 9 seconds. And this thing, quiet as can be, but it would roast the tire and just, the thing had just torque out the wazoo. So the performance will still be there. If it's set up right, it's just that you won't have the noise. So. Yeah, well,
I think we got. I think Ray, you and I will, by the time that gas engines are obsolete or gasoline as a regular means of conveyance is obsolete, we'll be piloting rocket chairs by that point.
Well, I'm going to have a gas engine power my rocking chair, my pacemaker, my pump, whatever it is that's keeping me going. I'm just going to have like a 2-stroke.
Yeah. Hey, listen, if I can get an electric wheelchair to smoke them, you know what I mean? I'm good with it, you know.
The only problem is getting up after it tips. He's like, hey, help.
What's the matter with Ray? Just slap a new